You don't get rid of Jesus Christ by the brush off. You don't get rid of him by playing the coward. He still had to deal with him. The terrible question that Pilate faced was, what think ye of Christ? Whose son is he? Or as he said in his own words, what then shall I do with Jesus, which is called Christ? Had him on his hands again. And then we read a strange thing. Luke 23, verse 12. And the same day Pilate and Herod were made friends together. For before they were at enmity between themselves. Isn't that wonderful? Peace, love, and unity. There two fellows had mad at each other, and they got together with peace and love and shared their common problems. And both of them went to hell. Do you know why they got together? They both got together against Jesus Christ. You want an ecumenical movement? There it is. You know what Simon Peter says when he speaks of these things? And he speaks of them in no uncertain terms. He says in Acts chapter 4, verse 27, For of a truth against thy holy child Jesus, whom thou hast anointed, both Herod and Pontius Pilate, with the Gentiles and the people, were gathered together. Isn't that a strange thing? You realize in Acts chapter 3, verse 13, Peter said that Pilate was determined to let Jesus go. Acts 3:13. And the very next chapter, Acts 4, verse 27, he said he was against him. You know what that's a picture of? That's the split personality. Cowardice couldn't get rid of him. Carelessness couldn't get rid of him. Pilate had him on his hands again. What does he do now? He tries cleverness. He's going to figure it out. Verse 14, Pilate said to the crowd, Luke 23:14, You have brought this man unto me as one that perverteth the people, and behold, I have examined him before you, have found no fault in this man, touching those things whereof you accuse him, nor yet Herod, for I sent you to him, and lo, nothing worthy of death is done unto him. I will therefore chastise him and release him. For of necessity must release one to them at the feast. And they cried out all at once, saying, Away with this man, release unto us Barabbas, who for a certain sedition made in the city, and for murder was cast into prison. Pilate therefore, willing to release Jesus, spake again to them, but they cried, saying, Crucify him, crucify him. And they were instant with loud voices, requiring he might be crucified. Luke 23:23, and the voices of them and of the chief priests prevailed. Now, you see that? The next thing he tried was cleverness. He said, I'll figure this thing out. I've got to release a prisoner. I'll give them their choice of Jesus Christ or Barabbas. And when they see Jesus Christ and Barabbas, they will surely let Jesus Christ go and kill Barabbas. After all, Barabbas was a robber and a murderer and guilty of sedition. Surely these people asked for the bad fellow to be hung and let the good fellow go. Pilate certainly was a naive fellow, wasn't he? He sure didn't know much about human nature, did he? The movements in America today are not to take care of the good people, they're to take care of the bad people. Poor old Pilate. He believed everything he read in the newspaper without knowing what was going on. He figured when they see Jesus Christ, they'll say, well, he's a fanatic, and he's a street preacher and a nut. I don't like the guy, I don't agree with him, but he's a good fellow as far as I know. Doesn't drink, doesn't cuss, doesn't smoke, pays his bills, true to his wife, that kind of thing. But I just can't stand that guy. He makes me nervous. I get upset when he's around. He irritates me. He's so narrow-minded and so negative. Kill him! And when they saw Barabbas, they said, now there's Barabbas. If it had been a modern-day crowd, they'd have said, there's that gay liberation fellow, that sex pervert. Well, he's perverted, but after all, that's just a lifestyle. And it's true he killed a fellow, but, you know, he's mentally handicapped. Matter of fact, he killed 8 or 9 people, you know, but, you know, we all do things wrong, and capital punishment is cruel and unjust, so have his head looked at, and if you let him out, he won't kill more than 4 or 5 more. And therefore, we ought to reverence the life of murderers, because human life should be reverenced, especially murders. Now, never mind about the fellows getting killed. Their lives, we can get rid of them. That's okay. 33 people dead, that's all right. But we must reverence the life of this killer. Because after all, he was just, you know, handicapped. And after all, he is a human being, you know. Let him go. And Pontius Pilate had Jesus on his hands again. You talk about a mess. Let me tell you something. The biggest mess you'll ever get into in your life is the mess you get into when you try to avoid the issue of what then shall I do with Jesus, which is called Christ. Oh, if men don't try to figure it out. I talked to a man one time. He said, well, the thing that is to be shall be. You believe that, don't you? You know, poor old tobacco-chewing, hard-shell Baptist sitting out the front porch, never finished the 8th grade, and that poor fellow was trying to figure out the eternal decrees of predestination. I said to him, I said, you know something, Pop? I said, it won't do you any good to talk that way after you've been in hell 30 million years. He's spitting a number 10 honey can there and said, well, I guess maybe you got something there. Ain't that pitiful? My father went to college for 10 years to be a geological engineer so he could disprove the book of Genesis. Why? So he could get out of receiving Jesus Christ and get rid of that Bible. The most brilliant mind in this world have been dedicated to getting around that decision, and there is no one of them that ever got around it. Pilate said, I'll think my way out. I'll meditate. I'll go into psychoanalysis. I'll go into extrasensory perception. I'll fool with nirvana and prajna and samadhi, and the Puranas and the Sutras and the Vedas and the Shastras, and about Bhagavad Gita. I'll think my way through. I'll eliminate myself by meditation. I will take care of the transmigration of the souls and reincarnation by getting rid of my karma. I'm a smart boy. And he had him on his hands again.